Okay, so the reason why PP Seeds is here or has a channel and a following, whatever it may be, PP has this drive in him to be in front of the camera. You know, I was reading Reddit posts where he wanted to be a director. He wants to actually do a film and with actors. And he says, I have actors, I have a location. How much should I pay him? It's a dream of his to be in front of the camera. I'm sure it is, and I'm sure that's what he wants to do. But the unfortunate part is he's the one promoting the misinformation. So it's going to cost him. It's going to cost him a lot because people are going to come, I feel, and question him and his morals for what's been happening with Bed Bath & Beyond. You just cannot put your hands up and say it's entertainment, because I'm not allowed to do that either. I can't say I have a YouTube channel about GameStop and about investing and not have any merit behind it. They have zero merit. They take zero responsibility for what's happening to the company and for the information that's pushed out. And they just put their hands up and say it's entertainment. I think it's childish, and there's no courage involved. So that's PP.
Yeah, I did also want to say, circling back to kind of the conversation around the harassment and doxing side of things. I know that some members of the bed bath community have made claims that, Marantz was the one that kind of doxed us first, giving the example of PP Seeds, or otherwise contributed in harassment towards them. I wanted to bring that up so that you had a chance to kind of make a comment or address those claims.
Absolutely. So there's no such thing as doxing first or anything like that. If you know the Bed Bath & Beyond crowd, they doxed me months ago, years ago, almost. Kaizen Lej was the first guy trying to dox, and I didn't care. I said, here's my name, here's where I'm from, here's what I do. I'm not afraid of it that way. But these individuals, what they did was, I got emailed, I believe it was October 4th, I got emailed all the PP Seeds information. His home address, his name, his business, pictures, his wife's Facebook, everything. I got everything. You can imagine the network I have. And I told everybody I'm not going to touch it. I'm not going to make a video. I'm not going to address it. Nothing. And I didn't. So they waited about 2 weeks, the individuals who sent me the info. And then they started posting it on Reddit and Twitter, and they started blasting it everywhere. But everyone knows that I had it well before then. And my mod crew, we established it wouldn't be in the best. You know, every time I put out a video, I always ask them first. I'm like, hey, what should we do? Should we do this? Should we do that? And they have good insight, and they keep me grounded. And and I'll never put out that information like that. So I didn't, and I still haven't. I haven't even made one video about the doxing of PP Seeds to this day. So.
Well, why do they accuse you of it? Is that just them? Like, why do they even say, it was Marantz that started first? Well,
it was Citadel who showed at GameStop. It was Robinhood. You know, like, you can literally say anybody's name to show deflection. And that's usually the way this works. You know, it was Russia who colluded the elections here in America. Like, you can say anything. And it's just fake news at this point, because anyone who's documented the channel or watched my channel, you'll know that I never made a video about it. And I never made a post about it, and I never said it to anyone. No one could ever come up with a screenshot to show you that I did. I said the complete opposite. I said it's not for us to do. We're not going to dox, and we're not going to put out that information. I was given it 2 weeks before it came out public, without a doubt, and I didn't do anything with it.
Got you. Cool. I think that's it for the Bed Bath community section. Ayaz, if you wanted to come in, if there was anything else you wanted us to expand on.
Sure. I mean, this is kind of related to the point that you just addressed, but I think it'd be good to just get a comment on it. I think I've seen on Twitter, you know, we follow all of these guys on Twitter.
Oh man,
people have accused you of having a sock puppet account called John Diamond, I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I wanted to see if you'd seen that, and
yeah, I mean, I've seen everything. I've seen everything that people put out there, but I'll address all this. I'll do it right now. So just so we're clear, like when it comes to Twitter, Reddit, and or YouTube, I have no alternate accounts, no alt accounts, nothing where I would post and see other tweets or anything. I usually block people that I don't want to associate myself with anymore. I do know of individuals like John Diamond. I do know Short the Destroyer. I do know who would be the other ones? Badass Trader. Obviously Platinum Sparkles. We're all in the same type of realm. We're all in the same community where people post, but it's not me. right? Where people try to say, oh, you are this person. No, not at all. I don't have the time or the energy to do it that way. And I would just tell you, I've seen their post. We have constant communication. I mean, I could show you screenshots, James. I could send it to you of our whole chat channel, how we all communicate. And you'll see John in there typing. You'll see other people typing. And more along the lines, guys, I want people to know this about GameStop community on Twitter. A lot of us have this stance that we want to preserve and protect GameStop, the information and how it's put out. That's why Superstock exists. That's why my channel exists. And there's a lot of people that want to create harm to it. In spite, right? Bed Bath & Beyond right now is losing all their money in the world. They lost their traction. They lost their community because this stock doesn't exist. Those individuals are very spiteful. So they come in and they'll say things just to try to throw, whatever it may be. But people on this channel, right, the investors that have watched this channel for years, they know where I stand, the integrity that's behind the words that I say. And I've been doing YouTube for almost 3 years now. That's a lot of live streams. It's a lot of videos, a lot of updates. And none of these guys can say the same. So they'll lose steam, they'll lose energy, and those Twitter warriors out there, Twitter fingers, well, they can say whatever they want, but they're completely wrong.
Okay, great. One other question just on this kind of doxing thing. We talked about threats to your safety and threats potentially to your family's safety. Given that, if you have thought, for example, that could be a threat to your family's safety, why stay in the space?
Yeah. That's a great question. You asked if the threats on my family have ever... Great question. You asked if the threats to my family have ever tried to influence the fact that I would stop making videos and or get out of YouTube and not Twitter. And I would just tell you, I was brought up a different way. I'm raised a different way. If I see someone getting mugged or robbed, or if I see some guy shoplifting at a store, I'm going to stop them, physically stop them. I will say something. I will alert the presses. I will call the police myself. I'm not going to record the incident so I can get views and clicks. It's not who I am. So when I'm out here talking, and I don't care if my safety's up for grabs here, it's more along the lines of trying to protect how many people are out here trying to get the right information. I've seen so many people lose their wealth. They lost their savings accounts, they lost everything in AMC. You guys may not know this, and you guys are doing a documentary right now on the GameStop relationships and these communities that are being grown, and even Bed Bath & Beyond, but AMC was a bigger monster for me for the last 2 years, and they lost everything. They're down 99.9% on their investment, and I was there with them hand in hand telling everybody they're wrong and going into chat channels, doing spaces calls. I did everything I could, and I saved a lot of people. And those are the people that are now with me today, saying, you saved me from AMC. I'm now in GameStop. And then I have people say, you saved me from Bed Bath & Beyond. I'm now in GameStop. I can't even tell how many people have told me, Marantz, I was in Bed Bath & Beyond. I lost everything. I can't believe this happened to me. And I'm telling them, so just educate yourself. Do the best you can. Get away from this. But yeah, my safety is not even my concern. Not at all. I've lived a long life. I'm 41 years old. And I've done enough in this life that I've made a direct impact on my family, the community around me, and I'm just doing my next step. So I don't live in fear. I'm sorry. I know some people do. Some people are cautious the way they step. I'm never going to be that way. It's just not me.
Amazing. Okay, and then just another thing, staying in the Bed Bath community kind of space, but going back a little bit. I wanted to touch on something that I don't think we really dove into, which is the theories that Ryan Cohen never sold his Bed Bath stake, and that he is still involved somehow, some way. I just wanted to know, how much you've seen those kinds of theories and what you think of them in general and why they come about.
I think all the theories on Bed Bath & Beyond and how Ryan never sold or Ryan's still involved, I think that it's made by individuals who are hanging on to anything at this point. And to push out these narratives, it creates this false movement. I think it's part of the infiltration, of these messages. If I could put out this psyop to tell you GameStop's going to transition and pivot and capture Bed Bath & Beyond and make it something it's not, well, guess who cashed out on that? Private equity did. And they cashed out on your dollars. And that's why Sue Gove was like part of this problem for me. I don't know if people understand this part, but the CEO and chairman of Bed Bath & Beyond, Sue Gove and Harriet Edelman, whatever it may be, these individuals had ties to private equity for the last 30 years. When I saw that, I said, oh my God, they're going to go bankrupt. They're going to let it happen. They're okay with it happening. And other people were trying to interpret the investment and or the interviews they were doing with, hey, they're headed somewhere. And I said, no, they're not. They're liquidating. This is it. It's over. And individuals that promote that push it out and say, now it's Ryan going to come buy in. And you could do that with any company. You could literally do that with any company right now. And say, Ryan's coming, he has $1 billion. He's not the only one with $1 billion and ready to roll. It's anyone. There's so many people out there with money. So I think it's low-hanging fruit. That's what I think. For a roundabout way to tell you, I think for the Bed Bath & Beyond community to promote ideas or thoughts for GameStop to come over and save them, I think it's low-hanging fruit. And it's just unfortunate for the people that listen.
Okay, cool. And then, yeah, one more thing that we sort of coming back to something we talked about earlier, which is Palte. Actually, you know what? There's a couple of things here, which is to start with, I want to talk about the live event.
Sure.
And generally your thoughts on the live event, and also more specifically, Larry Cheng's involvement. As somebody who you might read, you know, his kind of tweets or whatever as a reliable source of information for GameStop, I'd be interested to know about the fact that he was involved there and what you think about it.
Sure. I thought it was, let's talk about the Bed Bath & Beyond live event. A couple of things that I saw that happened. One, the unfortunate part was Larry was a part of this event, Larry Cheng, and it's not that it did anything for me per se. You know, I saw Ryan Cohen do an interview with GMEDD.com. That didn't make me think any different of Ryan, but I know who GMEDD.com is. I know that they don't invest in GameStop, that they're invested into other things, or they actually have short positions against GameStop, and that's been publicly announced. So yeah, it's not where I would go. It doesn't give them any credibility, any more credibility. The fact that Larry was there as a favor to Bill Pulte, I don't know what the relationship is there, and I don't understand beyond that, but it doesn't affect GameStop's balance sheet. Their business model has nothing to do with that. So, you know, I let the interview happen in my mind where I just say, okay, it happened. Doesn't mean PP Seeds is the authority to anything or anyone when it comes to GameStop. And so the conversation wasn't about GameStop. I can also tell you that. So I just have a whole different viewpoint on that. But yeah, that show that was live that they did where they charged money for it. And they did a 360 on a helicopter. They took off. They landed in the same spot on a rental helicopter. Just all optics at this point. It's just theater. And if you understand it, if you can get past it, great. But the individuals on that stage are all beta per se, for the lack of a better term, meaning they don't inspire anyone, right? You can't get in there and say, this is a great investment, this is where I'm going to be, because there's no belief behind it. You can confuse a couple of people. You can create some lemmings off of this, you know, these following and these followers. But I've been there. I've been in front of a crowd, and I've seen people that are uninspired by the speaker themselves. I was in the military. I'm just going to tell you guys, I'm being in the military, and you have leaders in front of you, guys who have been in the military for 20 years, and they're going to tell you, hey, we're all going to get deployed, we're all going overseas. Here's what's about to happen. Say goodbye to your parents, say goodbye to your mother, your dad, your kids. This is how we're rolling out. When you see leadership talk and speak, then you know how to follow, and you have to become a great follower before you become a leader. None of these guys possess those qualities. Bill Pulte, PP Seeds, Kais Malej, they're the most out-of-pocket speakers I've ever seen. They're speaking with no direction. They don't know what to say or how to say it. That show was a quote-unquote clusterfuck. And I'm unfortunate that I use that word here, James, Jani. I would never use those words on your show. But I want you to know that that was a train wreck. And that's their biggest moment they'll ever have, because that stock doesn't exist. the movement is just about as big as those people there, and people watched because they wanted to see just how cringe of what it was. It was complete cringe. So yeah, that's how I feel about it.
Cool. Do you want to ask anything else about the event, James?
There was a question that popped into my head and it's gone now.
Happens to me every day, James.
Oh yes, that was it. Why would Larry Cheng do that interview? I'm curious as to what you think happened there, or what exactly led up to that.
So my opinion about Larry Cheng being on that live event, one of two things. I saw Larry started transitioning his Twitter to be more like Bill Pulte, where they're doing giveaways, retweets, and that creates engagement. So the engagement for Larry Cheng and his tweets to be associated with Bill Pulte would be beneficial for him. To be like, hey, yeah, okay, this guy with 3.2 million followers called me, said, come onto this show, give me 5 minutes. And that's what he did. He, just like you guys have no idea what I talk about on my live stream every day. There's no way that you could watch every show, every episode. But people tend to think they know what the show's about and what it's surrounded. Like, you guys probably think it's all about GameStop, right? And it's really all about private equity in a way. But that's just the nature of it, and or myself, like what I'm going through for the day. But no one knows everything that PP Seeds and that crew has said on their show this whole time frame, this whole last 10 months. I'm sure Larry has no idea what they've said. And so when he goes on there, he's just like, I'm here, not knowing that it's that crowd. So yeah, I didn't have an opinion other than that, than him connecting with Bill Pulte is one thing. The byproduct that is the PP Seeds show, oh God. I don't think anybody wants to associate themselves with that show.